World reaction poured in after US President Donald Trump said the United States carried out a large-scale strike and announced Nicolas Maduro was captured and removed from Venezuela. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro condemned the attack, rejecting any aggression against Venezuelan and Latin American sovereignty.
But Venezuela implications are just beginning because every other country is watching and drawing conclusions about what American power means for their sovereignty. Russia sees American invasion of Venezuela and asks what prevents American invasion of anyone. If the United States can simply invade country capture leader without legal process, on what basis is any country safe from American intervention?
Guys, I think the days of US bullying other countries is coming to an end today, as they bomb Venezuela and capture its president and his wife and take them to US soil. I feel like this is the days that they actually are going to actually meet their equals, because China is against it, Russia is against it, and so is other European countries. Because I feel like sometimes you do things and you get away with murder, but then there's what we call a last straw. So what they did to Venezuela was actually the last straw. They are not going to get away with it. I'm telling you, this is, I think, a revolution that is going to awake not only, as it goes into African geopolitics, but also when it comes to like worldwide politics. So yeah, I'm actually happy. I'm not happy for the Venezuelans and so on, but I'm happy that that action actually will make sure that other countries stand against it. Because remember, Rosa Parks was not the first person who actually refused to stand up for a white person. Before her, there were a lot of other people who did that. But Rosa Parks is known today because it's that action on her that actually bring out the whole movement of, being against that. So we think that US has been bullying other countries. I mean, they wanted to bully Traore with, oh no, he's using gold to protect himself and so on. So what the freaking heck is wrong with a country leader using his own gold to protect himself, since you guys have been wanting to assassinate him, right? So yeah, let's see what's going on.
World reaction poured in after US President Donald Trump said the United States carried out a large-scale strike and announced Nicolas Maduro was captured and removed from Venezuela. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro condemned the attack, rejecting any aggression against Venezuelan and Latin American sovereignty. Cuba's President Miguel Diaz-Canel called the strike a criminal act and accused Washington of state terrorism against the region. Chile's President Gabriel Boric expressed concern and urged a peaceful solution to Venezuela's crisis. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, urged resistance against what he described as forced aggression. Russia condemned the strike as armed aggression and called for dialogue to prevent escalation. The United Kingdom said it was not involved and stressed the importance of upholding international law.
Well, I want to establish the facts first. I want to speak to President Trump. I want to speak to allies. As I say, I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved in that. And as you know, I always say and believe we should all uphold international law. But I think at this stage, fast-moving situation, let's establish the facts and take it from there. Yeah, there's about 500 there in Venezuela, and we're working with the embassy to make sure that they are well looked after, safeguarded, and get appropriate advice. So we're working at pace with the embassy on that. It is a small number, but it's an important number. It is about 500, and so that's what we're doing there.
The European Union said it was closely monitoring developments and called for restraint. Germany said it was closely following the situation and coordinating with its embassy in Caracas. Italy said it was monitoring the crisis closely, focusing on the safety of its citizens. International reaction continues as the situation in Venezuela remains fluid and highly volatile.
Heroic people of Venezuela, soldiers of the homeland, sons and daughters of Bolivar. The Bolivarian National Armed Forces would like to formally inform the entire world that in the very early hours of today, January 3rd, the Venezuelan people have unfortunately been subjected to what can only be described as the most criminal and completely unjustifiable military aggression by the government of the United States of America. So far, the ruthless and shocking barbarity of the invading forces that have desecrated our sacred soil in the areas of Huerte Tuna, the capital city of Caracas, and the states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira, have even struck civilian residential areas with devastating missiles and powerful rockets fired from their heavily armed combat helicopters. We are currently in the process of gathering and verifying information regarding the wounded and the dead. In the face of this vile, reprehensible, and cowardly assault, which so gravely threatens the peace, security, and overall stability of the entire region, we hereby raise and express the strongest and most unequivocal denunciation before the international community, as well as all relevant multilateral organizations, so that the government of the United States of America is publicly and formally condemned for its blatant, flagrant, and egregious grave violation of the United Nations Charter and international law. Free, independent, and sovereign Venezuela firmly rejects, with all the strength and unwavering resolve of its libertarian history, the presence of these foreign troops, who have brought nothing but death, pain, and destruction in their wake. This invasion represents the greatest outrage the country has ever suffered, driven by the insatiable greed for our strategic resources. Far from being a supposed and so-called fight against narco-terrorism, this utterly deplorable and reprehensible action seeks to forcefully impose a definitive and irreversible regime change and to subject us all to the spurious, illegitimate, and self-serving designs of North American imperialism, trampling upon the sacred, inalienable, and non-negotiable right to self-determination, for which our heroic liberators bravely fought.
If the reports are accurate and Donald Trump has ordered military strike on Venezuela, capturing Nicolas Maduro, we are witnessing the most significant breakdown of international order since the invasion of Iraq, and possibly the end of any pretense that international law constrains American action. Let me be very clear about what this means, not just for Venezuela, not just for Latin America, but for the entire structure of global governance that has existed since World War II. Because what Trump is reportedly doing violates every principle of that order: sovereignty, non-intervention, due process, international law, all discarded in favor of unilateral military action against sovereign government on another continent. I want to walk through the implications carefully, because if this is real, we are entering fundamentally new and dangerous era where American power operates without legal or diplomatic constraints. The reported facts are stunning. Trump announced large-scale attack on Venezuela. American forces conducted Operation Helicopter's overhead explosions in Caracas. Nicolas Maduro reportedly captured. Trump provided no legal justification, no international mandate, no explanation of authority, just promised more details later at press conference. This is not how law-abiding states conduct foreign policy. This is how rogue states operate unilateral military action against sovereign government without legal process, without international approval. The last time United States intervened this directly in Latin America was 1989 invasion of Panama to capture Manuel Noriega. That operation was widely criticized as violation of international law, but at least had some legal pretext. Noriega was indicted in U.S. courts on drug trafficking charges. Panama had political crisis with competing governments. U.S. claimed authorization from legitimate government. The legal case was weak, but existed. What legal case exists for Venezuela? United States does not recognize Maduro as legitimate after 2024 elections, but that is political position, not legal authority for military intervention. United States accuses Maduro of leading narco-trafficking organization, but accusation is not conviction and does not authorize invasion of sovereign country to arrest sitting head of state. There is no UN Security Council resolution, no international legal process, no authorization from anybody with legitimate authority, just American unilateral decision to conduct military operation on another continent against government. America does not like this. Is exactly the kind of action that international law was designed to prevent, because if accepted, it means that powerful states can simply invade weaker states whenever they claim legal justification without any international oversight or constraint. This is return to 19th century imperialism, where might makes right and powerful states do as they please. Now consider immediate implications for Venezuela. If Maduro has been captured or killed, what happens next? Venezuela implications are just beginning, because every other country is watching and drawing conclusions about what American power means for their sovereignty. Russia sees American invasion of Venezuela and asks what prevents American invasion of anyone. If United States can simply invade country capture leader without legal process, on what basis is any country safe from American intervention? China sees same calculation. If America invades sovereign country in Western Hemisphere, what prevents American intervention anywhere when America decides target government is illegitimate or criminal? Iran sees that American threats are not empty, that Trump is willing to use military force unilaterally without international approval. This changes Iranian calculations about nuclear program, about regional activities, about American red lines. North Korea draws